This video is part 3 in a series where I'm using Visual Studio Code and the SQLite3 editor extension to make a little database on quotes and authors, and we're going to add in topics, which is going to be a many-to-many relationship. Okay, so far what we have, our recap, is that we have an author table. So I have some authors, and I've added one additional author since the last time. So I've added Winston Churchill, who's a statesman from the UK, and he was born and died. Okay. And then I added in my quote table a quote by him. My most brilliant achievement was my ability to be able to persuade my wife to marry me. Okay. Because I'm going to introduce the idea of topic, and so I want to bring in the idea that a quote can fall under many topics, and then a topic can include, of course, many quotes. So, and that just, there are sort of many topics on that quote. Okay. So I'm just showing here, like we are making some little database, which might be like the back end of what's behind Brainy Quotes, and also it's where I took my quotes from. All right. So when we looked at the author quote relationship, we made these statements. We were relating two entities, and we made these statements in two directions. And, and so each entity, I'm calling it now entity one and entity two, each entity appears in the sentence in two different places. So the sentence, I'm always beginning the sentence with a or an, and it'll be a and then entity one. So a quote, a topic, an author. And then on the second one, in the second part of the statement is the other entity in which I'm establishing the relationship between the two entities, entity one and entity two. And then that is preceded by a word, either one or many. So let's consider this for the quote to topic relationship that we want to bring in now. So a quote, starting with, again, always start with a or an, and then entity one. So in the first statement, entity one is quote. A quote may be related to many topics. Topic is entity two. Okay. So this Winston Churchill quote that I brought in, my most brilliant achievement was my ability to be able to persuade my wife to marry me. So if there might be achievement as a topic, spouses as a topic, humor as a topic, then so this might fall under any of those topics, subjects, themes, whatever you want to call them. Okay. Now let's do the other statement. We always have to make these statements in both direction. Again, always starting. So now quote will be entity one. Sorry, now topic will be entity one and quote will be entity two. And entity one is always preceded by a or an. So a topic covers, contains, however you want to say it, many quotes. So my most brilliant achievement was my ability to be able to persuade my wife to marry me is about achievement. And the Maya Angelou quote that we had, all great achievements require time, is about achievements. So the topic has many quotes, and a quote can belong to many topics. Okay. So when we were considering the last time, when the author quote relationship, which was a one-to-many relationship, then and we made these statements, one of the statements had a one in it. So, and then it was that statement. So in that case, what was it? That a quote was by one author. Then that told us which table. The statement with a one in it told us which table was the one with a foreign key. So when we said in that previous example, a quote has one author, that told us that the quote table had the author, of which there is only one, as the foreign key. And so that told us how to design the tables. Those statements, and particularly the one as it appeared in those statements, told us where to put the foreign key, which table to put the foreign key in to establish the relationship between author and quote. Now we have the problem in that we just talked about this topic to quote relationship, and there were no statements. Neither statement had they won. And so now we have to learn sort of a new way to handle this. So first, we have to make a topic table, which we haven't done that, but I didn't want to make the topic table. I need to figure out when I'm going to make the topic table, I need to know what the fields are, and I needed to know whether the topic table should have a foreign key in it. But the topic, when I made this statement, that it didn't have the word one in it. So I don't need a foreign key in the topic table. So I'm going to make a topic table. It's going to have just a simple, like a primary key and a simple text field. So I'll use the primary key, I'll make it an integer, I'll make it auto increment, and then some text field, which will just say simply a humor or something like that. Now, if I were making an honest, not just a simple demo database, then I might have something more, maybe some sentences of explanation, what I do and don't include as humor or something. Um, okay. And then, so I'm making a topic table, but I don't have the relationship yet. I have these independent uh, topics floating around and these quotes floating around, but I don't have the relationship yet. So we make the relationship, we make a many-to-many relationship. This thing has different names, but I usually call it a bridge table. And so we're going to introduce a table to another table that wasn't necessarily an entity, but is a table required to establish this many-to-many relationship. And it is going to consist of two foreign keys. It's going to have a foreign key connecting it to quote and another foreign key connecting it to topic. So then this table will connect to quote and to topic, and then it will be through this table that we will establish the many-to-many relationship. Okay. So here I am making the table. This is first the topic table. So this isn't, I'm not making the bridge table yet, I'm making the topic table. And I kept it very simple. I had a topic ID and a topic text. So again, I went over to the SQLite3 editor region over in the Explorer down near the bottom on the left. And if I sort of put my mouse near SQLite editor tables, I get a little icon for creating tables and I can hit create tables. I don't see a topic table yet because I haven't committed it. So it doesn't appear in my list, but if I went over and highlighted that thing that says tables, I get the little icon to bring about this dialog where I create a table. So I supplied the name of the table topic. I said I wanted a topic ID. I made it integer. I made it primary key. I made it auto increment. And then I added a topic text, which was text and was not the primary key. And I'm hovering over in this screen capture I've made. I'm hovering over the commit so I can see the SQL, but I haven't hit the commit button yet. Now I've hit the commit button. So now I see that I have a topic table down in my SQLite3 editor region of my Explorer down near the bottom on the left. I then have with topic highlighted, I have a region, the select region at the top to see my topics, and the insert region in the bottom to add topics. And you can see that I have been busy. I have added 5 topics: humor, spouse, achievement, forgiveness, gift. Okay. And so I was, the topic IDs are auto incremented. So I was not entering that. I was entering the topic text and then hitting commit. So that's how I got that list above. Now I'm hitting that, I'm going back over to the SQLite editor section of the Explorer on the lower left. I'm hitting that icon. So this time I purposely screen captured it with that icon showing so I could remind you of this. I hit that button and decided I wanted to make my bridge table, my table with 2 foreign keys. Okay. Now, in general, in databases, people usually like to have each table to have a primary key. And so when you have a bridge table, there are there's sort of 2 ways to work with the primary key. One way is to introduce an individual integer auto-incremented topic ID like we have in every other table. And that's what we have done here. Another way to do that is to just take the combination of the 2 foreign keys, and that combination has to be unique. And you sometimes will use that as what's called a composite key, because the combination of the 2 has to be unique, because you're using them to establish the relationship. So there'd be no reason to establish the relationship twice. And then some database management systems, and so I don't know if this is SQLite or whether it is this SQLite3 editor that I'm working with, but they didn't like the composite key. It seemed like I could have the primary key activated on the 2 and then hit commit, but then it complained. So I took it out and went back to the sort of an explicit ID. And maybe there's a way to do it, and I just didn't know how to do it. I know I think it might be in MySQL, you have to, I don't know, do some fancy way to select it. Sort of by default, it only wants 1 primary key, but you have to work a little harder to get a composite key. So either it may be just I don't know how to make the composite key in the system, or it may be that they are specifically saying we don't want a composite key. But this is intro and I'm trying to keep it easy. So I just said, you don't want a composite key? I'll make it a simple. I introduced a sort of an independent, simple, basic single ID at the top. So that's what I have. 3 in this bridge table, 3 fields, the quote topic ID, which is just a basic primary key for this table. I had the quote ID and the topic ID. Those were integers because they are the foreign keys relating to other tables. So the type has to match what it was in the other tables. And in the other tables, my IDs were integers. And then I hit that references button, and the quote ID references the quote table, and specifically the quote ID of the quote table. So after you hit references, you pick a table and you pick a field of that table. And then I added a topic ID, and that was integer, and that references the topic table, specifically the topic ID. Okay. I did not, when I'm naming the field over there on the left, I did not have to give it the name quote ID and topic ID, but I did. So, that's just, a choice. It could have been changed. All right. So now here I am adding to my quote topic, my bridge table. And so I am adding, so that first, that 1, 2, 3, 4 you see on the leftmost column, though that's just the primary key for this record, for this row. Then the two IDs, the quote ID and the topic ID are referencing to other tables. So I added all my humor quotes first. So I had quote 4 and 5 and 6. Those were all the Groucho Marx. Those were all humor. And then the scrolling was hiding my first row. And so then I re-added it. And if I had a composite key, this wouldn't have happened because it would not have been unique. But with the quote topic ID, I could do it. And so then I ended up with this relationship twice. And I say, I don't want this relationship twice. So then I need to delete. And that's useful in the intro because that's one of the standard things one does in a database is delete. So let's learn how to do it now. And so if I highlight the entire row, if I go up into that region on the top and I just get myself into an individual fields box, then I can change what's in the box and that will be an update. But if I highlight the entire record, then the system knows that what I'd like to do is delete, which is shown at the bottom. You can see the word delete. And then if I commit to the delete, that record will disappear, which it did. And then I added my other records. I added I took my most brilliant, my Winston Churchill, and I added that it was humor and it was spouse and it was achievement. It fit all those topics. My Groucho Marx were all humor, and then I had the one Maya Angelou that I said was about achievement. Now I have, this will come up in a minute, but I had some topics and I haven't related to quotes, and I have some quotes that I haven't related to topics. So I'm not done, but I'm going to stop at this point and make query this database and see what happens with these sort of missing things. Okay, so now I want we saw before when we made what was called a join query. We said I have an author and a quote, and I want in the results of my query to show something that was in the author table and something else that was in the quote table. I made what we call a join. Because I have a bridge table, I need to join sort of three things. Now, there's another notation for this, and we will use that uh, in later time. We will keep it simple for now. We will just do it this one way and point something out, and then we will learn other ways to do it, and that they will make explicit this distinction between what are called inner joins and outer joins. So right now, I'm just using a sort of a simple notation, and we're going to say that it gives us inner joins, and then we will at another time distinguish between inner joins and outer joins and introduce the syntax that distinguishes them. Okay, so what do we have here? I want to see two things. I want to see the quote and the topic. And so those are the only two fields I want, but I need the relationship comes through that bridge table. So to bring in the relationship, I'm pulling from three tables, quote, quote, topic, and topic. The order doesn't matter. The order might matter to me in my brain, but the order doesn't matter in this SQL statement. But now I need to get the IDs to match up. When we were making joins before, we had to make the IDs match. And now we have two sets of IDs that need to match. So the quote ID of the quote data of the quote table, so the quote ID of the quote table has to match the quote ID of the quote topic table. And so there are two conditions here. And the topic ID of the topic table has to match the topic ID of the quote topic table. So the bridge table appears in there twice. It's got both foreign keys, and both foreign keys must match their corresponding primary keys to properly establish the relationship. And we see the results. I highlighted my join here, my joining of three tables in this case. I highlighted my query and hit that little triangular run execute button and got my results. And we see I have my Groucho. It doesn't show it that it's Groucho Marx because I did not bring in the author table, but I have my three Groucho Marx quotes because they were all on humor. I have my Winston Churchill result appearing three times because I thought that it was about humor and about a spouse and about achievement. And then I have my Angelou quote that is about achievement. But I had my Angelou quotes that don't appear, and I have some topics that don't appear. And that is because I did not relate them. So this join query is about things that are related. And if I have things that are not related, they're not appearing in my results. This in particular, this is known as an inner join. If you want if you want to have uh, quotes that haven't been assigned to a topic, that would be called an outer join. Again, we'll do that another time. If you want to have show the topics that there are no quotes assigned to yet, we can also do that. That's a different kind of outer join. But again, keeping it simple for now, we'll make more about the distinction of inner and outer joins and introduce a different syntax that can handle that at another time. This is pretty much all we're going to do for this time. And I say thank you for your attention.